Lecture 11, Film Music. In these lectures, we have recognized ancient musics and animal songs, have mapped our Commonwealth and ecoregion's diverse musics, have ordered in history 5 eras of the classical tradition and 3 core periods of jazz. These comprise a foundation for listening knowledgeably, for making sense of a wide range of today's musics and their meanings for us. With this foundation, we will analyze the music of film, video games, recorded musics, country and western, rock, hip-hop, and stage music. These 7 topics provide key modes through which people experience music. In today's lecture, we interpret music in film from the 1890s to today. In France, the Lumiere brothers, Auguste and Louis, developed the cinematograph motion picture system and produced short films between 1895 and 1905. This technological development shot 16 frames per second, which presented viewers with the impression of movement. On a December evening in Paris, the brothers screened short films such as Arrival of a Train at La Ciotat, which triggered shock and wonder in the audience. These short scenes of daily life included a pianist improvising music to support each scene. Watch the Lumiere brothers' Arrival of a Train at La Ciotat. Pianists, organists, and small ensembles, such as string quartets, performed with silent films to mask projector noise, to create an emotional atmosphere, and help make the intentions of the scene clear. Thomas Edison's The Kiss, screened in 1896, was one of the first films played in the U.S. Early silent film music was improvised, sometimes with cues related to the action taking place. The eminent Romantic era composer Camille Saint-Saëns was fascinated by the new technology. He was previously acclaimed for his orchestral compositions such as the 1886 Carnival of the Animals and his 1877 opera Samson and Delilah. Wanting to undertake an endeavor that had never been done before, he wrote perhaps the earliest original film score, L'Assassinat du Duc de Guise, in 1908. And we'll listen to that as well. Watch that scene. Link is below. Saint-Saëns used leitmotifs, a technique drawn from opera in which he employs specific melodies to support the characteristics of each of the film's main characters. These melodic motifs change throughout the film, using different instruments, dynamic levels, tempos, rhythmic variation to accentuate action taking place on the screen. Leitmotifs remain a prevailing feature of film music. Another classical composer to experiment with silent film was Erik Satie, who composed an avant-garde score for the 1924 film Entr'acte. Avant-garde music pushes the limits of conventional forms and techniques, rejecting customary rules of the classical music tradition, which includes using novel sounds and tonal experimentation. And there's a link below for that. The Russian composer Dmitri Shostakovich composed music for the 1929 film, The New Babylon. And there's a link below for that. In this film, Shostakovich utilizes French folk music, revolutionary songs, operatic melodies and dances, such as the waltz. His score creates dramatic effect by contrasting music with action on the screen in startling ways. Shostakovich's score was lost soon after the film's premiere, but was rediscovered in the 1970s. Beginning in the 1930s with the advent of sound pictures, that is, pictures that have vocal sound instead of you reading the words, Hollywood's golden age of film, 1930 through 50s, began. 3 film composers, Max Steiner, Erich Wolfgang Korngold, and Bernard Herrmann, made notable advances to film music scoring that endure today. Steiner, who composed music for King Kong in 1933, Gone with the Wind in 1939, and Casablanca in 1942, is often called the father of film music and relied heavily on leitmotif. Korngold, best known for The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938, and Captain Blood in 1935, developed rich romantic orchestration, especially in much-loved swashbuckling epics. Herman, an innovator of mood and atmospheric music, wrote the scores for Citizen Kane in 1941 and The Day the Earth Stood Still in 1951. Together, these three composers' distinctive styles laid a groundwork for cinematic scoring, defining how audiences would come to perceive and feel storytelling on screen. We'll watch a clip from Herman's The Day the Earth Stood Still. The choice is ours. After watching that scene, it quickly becomes apparent that orchestral accompaniment is not the only sonic event that supports the mood and storytelling. The name for orchestral accompaniment is underscore, which refers to the invisible orchestra. The invisible orchestra does not always refer to traditional orchestras. Alex North, who composed film music for the 1951 film A Streetcar Named Desire, utilized jazz instruments. And I have a link to a scene from that below. In the scene, Stanley meets Blanche. North underscore sets a mood for the meeting, presenting Stanley as a modern and potentially dangerous, and Blanche as fragile and potentially a victim. Source music, also called diegetic music, exists within the world of the film. If underscore refers to the invisible orchestra, source music is the visible orchestra. A character on screen might sing a song or turn on a radio, hum a leitmotif, or a marching band might traverse the screen. An example of source music in the scene Play It, Sam from Max Steiner's 1942 film Casablanca, and there's a link below. The song As Time Goes By, written in 1931 by Herman Humpfield, is hummed and then performed on piano by the character Sam. The music transforms from source music into underscore as Rick hears the old melody and is distressed. The source music and underscore work together to evoke nostalgia, heartbreak, and tension. Casablanca set the precedent for integrating popular songs into film music, both as source music and underscore. Today, the Shrek films masterfully include popular music woven with underscore. The final of the three main components of film scoring is sound effect. In short, sound effects are anything that is not conventionally considered to be music. Sound effects can evoke emotion and support storytelling in the same ways underscore and source music do. An example, the bell throughout the 1941 film It's a Wonderful Life serves as a leitmotif for the acts of an angel, Clarence, throughout the story. We'll watch the scene every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. This scene includes source music, George's friends and family singing Auld Lang Syne. Orchestral instruments form the underscore, and the bells on the Christmas tree, a motivic sound effect. Beginning in the 1970s, film music saw a shift towards greater stylistic diversity, blending classical orchestration, electronic sounds, rock, jazz, soul, country, and other genres. John Williams revived the grand romantic era scoring style with his 1977 film Star Wars. Lalo Schifrin, Mission Impossible 1966, Jerry Goldsmith, Planet of the Apes, 1968, and Quincy Jones, The Italian Job, 1969, explored funk and jazz in action, sci-fi, and dramatic films. In spaghetti westerns, composer Ennio Morricone added electric guitars, whistles, ocarinas, harmonicas, whip cracks, mariachi trumpets, and wordless vocals to the orchestra. One iconic example is the 1966 film The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which builds tension through howling vocals, electric guitar, snare drum, and trumpet. We'll watch The Final Duel, and there's a link below. This three-way standoff Il Triello, between Blondie, Angel Eyes, and Tuco, is considered one of the most artistically constructed pieces in film music. Musically, tense ostinatos, repeated patterns, progressively add layers of instrumentation and intensity, suspending resolution as each of the three characters looks at one another. Without the music, the scene covers very little action. The music serves as a powerful psychological function, making this scene, the movie's climax, work. From the initial days of live piano accompaniment to the groundbreaking scores of Hollywood's golden age and genre-defining innovations of the 1960s and 70s, film music has developed to intensify storytelling and express impact. Today's composers were influenced by yesterday's composers. Hans Zimmer credits Jerry Goldsmith and Ennio Morricone's ideas, which he uses in films like the Pirates of the Caribbean series, 2003 to 2017. Ramin Djawadi, notable for Game of Thrones, 2011 to 2019, was influenced by rhythmic and thematic ideas introduced by Lalo Schifrin and Max Steiner. Rachel Portman, who composed the music for Emma, 1996, was influenced by John Williams and Eric Wolfgang Korngold. Film composers, then and today, shape how audiences experience cinema and expand the diversity of film soundtracks.